Hello, everyone. Welcome to Product Engineer Podcast. I'm Kerem. I'm here with Suresh. I'm a senior product engineer. You know me from the previous episodes. I'm the driver of AI topic in the company. And I'm here with Suresh today. He's a principal product engineer. Maybe you can...
Like as Kerem mentioned, I'm principal product engineer, leading team Raven, so which is majorly focusing on building the data and AI products for our customers. And here we are for discussing about the AI agents and how we are going to make use we are going to make use of it at epilot. So that's what we are going to discuss today in the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast for product engineers.
And maybe Kerem, I will start with the first basic questions.
Mhm.
What are AI agents? What does it do?
Yeah, nice question. So, I think everyone listening to this maybe heard of this, and there is a hype on AI and AI agents, and the agents is compared to AI is more new term, right? So AI agents basically make use of tools we provide, and autonomously they use those tools to generate answers. I can give you a quick example. So if you go into ChatGPT and ask what is the current weather in Cologne, it is not able to answer that question because it doesn't have the real-time data. But if you provide Google search tool to ChatGPT, then it is going to use that Google search and search what is the current weather in Cologne in Google. Then it will use that information and generate the answer for you. So this is basically how AI agent works and how it is. But I want to ask you, what are the tools for AI agents? How do you see which kind of tools we can provide?
I think it depends, right? So it depends on the use case on which the AI agent is going to be built on, and there are traditional machine learning models, algorithms you could make use of, or NLP models, or even the LLMs. Right now the foundation models are available, so it depends on the use case, and based on that, even there are several other AI technologies available, and based on that you could design an AI agent in a simple term, as you said, right? So it's a autonomous smart computer program which is designed to do some specific action. It figures out, just like a human, it just figures out how it has to process the data, or how it has to process things, and it could be even a software or even hardware, right? There are some agents which relies on hardware sensors and other things, so it could be in any form. But I would say for us specifically at epilot, I think we are more focused on supporting our users with reducing the manual repetitive tasks. So that's what I see it as. And maybe could you give me a recap of what we are doing here with the AI stuff, how we are heading to AI agents? So what are the features we had in the past, and how are you approaching this problem at epilot?
Yeah, in previous podcasts we already talked about AI summaries, AI filters, and maybe we talked little bit about AI replies, which is which were our vision for messaging use cases. So for AI summaries, we released it a couple months ago. We see lots of great feedback. It helps users. It reduced the time consumed on reading long email threads, and it helped users in that way. And after that, we have AI filters, which generates table filters from natural language queries. And we are this week we are really close to release AI replies feature, which is like you can input anything to AI and it will generate a suggested reply for your emails, which will in our vision in messaging use cases, it's the last part of reaching our target. We expect maybe 80% of efficiency here in terms of time and CES score. Do you want to add
Maybe
something else?
talking about the efficiency part, like how do you see the AI agents or like even the mail replies, right? So how do you see it could create an impact like for the customers? Like do you specifically have any focus in mind, like as a value add, or like how do you approach this specific problem?
Yeah, not specifically about AI replies, but in messaging use cases, I see some great use cases with AI agents, which is like for service requests, we can leverage AI agents to process service requests, get human in the loop, suggest next best actions to take, and suggest things like that. For example, customer sent an email, asked to update the meter reading, right? What our users do is they link this email to the opportunity, then they need to find the related meter and the meter reading, then they do all of these are manual right now, but if we leverage agents, agents can automatically handle those service requests. What about you?
I also another advantage I see there is right, you can leverage the AI agents in a way that giving a 24/7 support, so you don't really need human to be available all the time in case some of the critical things, right? So where end customer needs support in the off work time, this could suggest some of the simple requests could be resolved immediately. And also I see there is a potential way where you could improve the customer service experience with a multilingual support. Most of the LLMs or models have the multilingual support. I think for that use case it's going to help to address the wider audience.
Makes sense, especially for ECP. You see great use cases as far as I understood. Yeah. Nice. So maybe let's talk about the challenges of AI agents. Do you think AI agents are a big challenge to implement, or and what are those?
I think the first challenge when it comes to my mind when discussing about the AI agents, right? So especially for building a vertical use case, it's data silos are one of the important problems to address, and most of the utilities or the energy data itself, it's not fragmented properly, and you don't have that much well labeled categorized data. I think that's something one of the challenges which you need to solve, and also see for wider use cases you might need to depend on the legacy systems which might not have the the needed technical support for interacting with the APIs or things for connecting to the AI agent. So I think that's something still a challenge. So either you have to go with building an interface layer or a middleware to address those challenges, and also the regulatory concerns, right? Especially when you're dealing with the end customer data or some of the highly critical stuff. So I think it's very important to have that regulatory and data security standards in place, and you really need to have that monitoring the human in the loop, especially when agents doesn't do its job for the complex request. You need to have the reliable strategy to fall back to either humans or the other mechanisms to get the job done. So I think that's where the core challenge comes in, but still it's a start, right? So you need to start somewhere, and I think that would tremendously improve over the days. AI agents can improve the processes, and also it can learn based on its own logs and stuff. So yeah, I think I see a good future there, but still it's not the easy path to.
Yeah, exactly. Adding to that, like especially for human in the loop concept, especially if the users are getting used to AI, AI agents may make them feel like, oh, what happens now? But if we push for human in the loop, that means like human will always have the control and have always give the approval or deny of agent's action, right? I believe like this is one of the most important things if you are going to implement AI agents to your workflows.
Yeah, I think also another interesting challenge is like, adoption, especially when your users are not that good with like the recent technologies. Then like it's a learning curve for getting adapted to this, and also most often like people say AI is going to replace all the jobs, like let's say customer service agents and stuff, but I don't see it as a replacement, but more of like augmentation, like where it's going to stay with you, like it's going to like help you do your job in a better way, like and faster, so it reduces a load for you. I think it's just going to be a companion, a co-pilot for you, but yeah, I don't see that as a replacement. I think that's just a common like fear people has in mind.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk about the impact of AI agents. How do you see Pilot leverages AI agents, and what is the value we are going to add with AI agents?
Yeah, I think like as you spoke before, the features which we focused on, like on the AI in the past, it mainly focuses on the efficiency topic, like where we want to like help our users reduce the repetitive manual task, and like help them work faster and better. I think AI agents are going to play a major role here as well, and like one step ahead, like it's going to like be another companion for them, like especially for our big use case, right, the service vision. And most often like in energy sector, like you could get tons of service requests from the end customers, and how you are going to process it, right? Like, and as you said, updating the meters, or like downgrading the plant, or like even like the way like you think about giving the operational insights even for the management team or like others. So there could be different agents. I see it's not just one agent who's going to be part of like the entire platform. Like there could be a support agent which collects all the incoming emails, and like based on the like importance of the email, like and like the priority, and also the type of request it like it needs to do, and like it can auto assign it to the corresponding team, so you could like avoid the human there, like manually processing all the emails and assigning it to the individual teams, right? So that could be avoided, especially if you are like receiving thousands of requests every day. So that's somewhere like we could be more efficient, and also like another stuff, right? So let's say like as a utility, I want to know how my end customers are doing stuff, like how their operational like works are like, and that insights could be collected over like by a sales agent, and like even for a new lead, right? So how the conversation is going on, and like where the executing user needs to focus on in terms of like like let's say you have like 1,000 or like 100 opportunities you are processing, and you wanted to like prioritize what you want to do today when you open the epilot, right? So, and for that, agents could do the job for you in terms of like planning your day, what it looks like. You need to address this specific like customers leads, and like you need to do these tasks, so that it could be your personal assistant as well, like within the platform, like a co-pilot, right? So I think that's how I see as a future for epilot, and like the use cases are endless still, like you can have different audiences like for different agents, but yeah, I see like there is a promising like impact it could bring, and like it was evident already from the email summaries and like email filter, like entity filters.
Yeah.
So yeah. And like from your perspective, what do you think? Like, because you have been like, the driver for AI at epilot, right? So
Yeah, like I totally agree with your points. Maybe adding to that, in the long term, I feel like we have the infrastructure for AI agents in terms of workflows, because in our platform you can attach workflows to entities, right? And every workflow has phases and tasks. So each task, I believe, can be resolved by an AI agent. And imagine a multi-agentic platform. Once you attach the workflow, it automatically gets triggered. It starts to resolve the tasks. It's, for example, if the task is like send an email to customer, we already have the email generator AI, right? Then it will make use of that particular code we have. It will make use of it like a tool. It will, like we will leverage tools and multiple agents, and your workflow will be resolved. Like it will be done really, really soon, and you won't do lots of manual work. This is how I imagine it in long term.
Yeah, I think also like, it could be more customer centric approach, right? So, which means like with a multi-agent approach, like, with the data we have, and I think like it's very much possible that like you could give a clear attention to every single like, customer or a lead, and like, you can be proactive, and like, you can be more parallel in that side, and like, I see the future already, like even for us, right? So as a engineers, like most of the code, like now we get AI written. So I think it's acting as like another companion for us, like and while building the product. So I think it's going to be the same for the users, the agents, like in our platform. For them, like if you want to like send an email, just click approve. I think that's a future, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly. So another important topic about AI agents is security, and how we handle security with AI agents. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I think like one of the important topic when it comes to like when we deal with data is like being more regulatory and like compliant with what we do, and that's essential thing, especially with the GDPR like compliance. Like you really need to take care of the PIIs and all the other information of the end customers. I think that's definitely one of the challenges we have when it comes to like AI applications, and like I see there are other like ways it could be like manipulated as well. Like let's take, if you are building a conversational agent, and like you end customer, like you never know like what would be the input, and like it's easy for getting the model like manipulated, and like there are like other breaches like model poisoning and other stuff. So you could get like really bad output, or like exactly, you could jailbreak, and like there are like a lot of other vulnerabilities like which you need to like handle. I think it's not always the functional testing that is enough for like AI applications. Rather like you really need to have a pipeline for like auditing it, like especially like a regular human audit is very important. That's why like human in the loop plays a major role for the AI applications. And also I see like the data governance and like the regulatory, right? So that's pretty important. And like when it comes to like the cybersecurity risk, I think like we really need to like take care of the model poisoning or like other cyber attacks, and like especially the inputs which have been like sent to the AI systems, like to the models. So that's very much important. And like it's very likely that AI could like we won't be able to predict like how the output of AI models are going to be, right? So that's something like we really need to like have a check on. And like another key important aspect part of this is like building a trustworthy AI. So it like even if the output is not as expected, then end customers might lose that trust as well. And another that's another like big challenge for us to address, right, to gain back the same trust. So it's very important to like have the balance of like AI as well as like human systems, and like part of which there are like different strategies which people follow, like to be more vertical and like not to be like more industry specific or use case specific instead of being very generic. And yeah, like, what do you think, like how we could make the AI agent smarter?
Smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. So, like we can apply the same patterns we use with non-agenting LLM apps, I believe. For example, when we want to make to get better responses from an LLM, what we do is, first of all, we do prompt engineering, which is the most simplest way of doing it. The second thing is RAG, and the third thing is we can do fine tuning, which is a bit of like more costly thing. And after that, like, you can, if you are not satisfied for the from the results, what you can do is you can train the model from scratch. But this takes like lots of time, complex, and also costly thing. So I believe RAG is the correct way, and we call these kind of apps agentic RAG apps. So basically, your agent applies the RAG. So you ask a question, it figures out it needs some contextual and external data to answer this question in a better way or more accurately, Then it goes to your vector storage, like your knowledge base. It scans for this data, and it finds it, then it starts to execute the task or action. So I believe this is a way to make AI agents smarter. But I also think that AI agents can learn from data and learn from the patterns, logs, for example, and we can leverage this sort of data to make AI agents smarter. Do you think any other way exists?
Yeah, I think it uses some data pretty well. So it's like, the constant upgradation, right? So like as you get that data more and more, like, and as you get like, more and more executions for the agent, so you put that in the knowledge base and like, it can learn from its own. Like, let's say like if AI agent is not able to perform something and like, if it falls back to the human at the end, and like, you have that specific use case or like the pattern and like that could be like trained on for the later purpose, and like, yeah, it could be like, fixed for the future. So that's how I think it learns, just like a baby. And like, in the future you would have much more like reliable agent which can does job for you. And yeah, in conclusion, I would say like, agents are not just like, a technological innovation, more of like, like a next milestone where you could like, think of being more efficient, like, and like, responsive, and also being like proactive with building like a lot of innovations. So yeah, I think like, with this, you can like, bring a lot of impact in the energy sector, especially for driving the green revolution, right? So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Exactly. I believe 2025 will be the year of AI agents.
Yeah, especially the vertical AI agents, and if you look into it, so they are evolving like, at the same rate as like, traditional SaaS applications. So for every SaaS application you will have like an equivalent vertical AI agent startup. So I think like, as an industry it has its like, own importance right now. So yeah, I see that's a future where we are heading to as well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So at epilot, like, we are pretty excited about like, the future with the AI agents and like how it could help our customers and like, help us drive the vision of the energy revolution. And like, thank you for listening, and remember, the future energy is going to be like intelligent and like, effective with the AI agents from epilot.
Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the podcast for product engineers. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time.